Take a moment and picture yourself waiting for a train in a train station. You have a long way ahead of you and you decide to have a snack before the train gets there. Maybe you have a backpack on your shoulders, maybe you have a phone in your hands, and then you decide to have a candy bar. You open it, you stop checking the clock, and suddenly the train is there. In only a few moments, you have to find your tickets, collect your bags, and board the train. Everywhere around you, people are starting to move as well. Eventually, while you are doing all of that, a gush of air blows and the package flies from your hand. It lands somewhere and you are not able to find it before the train is moving and you have to board it. There you go, you have litter. That's not how it always happens, but I can assure you, even in the most caring society, at least this kind of litter will happen. As a lawyer working in the field of environmental law and public law, marine litter is one of the topics I've been working on most recently. Personally, I always felt that not much change can be achieved from behind a fancy desk in a suit and tie. I guess that at some point every lawyer faces this inner conflict about the practical implications of our work. There is even a famous quote which says, "Environmental law is often the place where passion dies of procedure." Truth be told, we all had something bigger than reports and lawsuits in our minds when we decided to apply for law. I always had this feeling that I should be doing more. And these ideas led me to a master's degree in environmental engineering. And despite the odd looks from my colleagues, the technical knowledge is a great advantage in the field. And as science can be way more engaging than law, I kept balancing the academy and work and started a PhD in geosciences. Eventually, I decided to go full scientist mode and I took an 18 months fellowship in Germany in order to deepen my studies in environmental processes. This time has helped me to understand the changes we have to go through. It goes from individual behavior change to trying to inspire the others. From avoiding single-use plastic to being mindful of your dietary choices. And ultimately, it goes from being aware of the environmental issues and deciding whether I want to be a part of the problem or of the solution. During the last year, I dedicated myself to better understand waste production and waste management and the issue of marine litter. Not only in a broad way, like how much trash the whole world produces, but actually, how am I part of the problem and how I could work better. It means actively working on assessing how much trash I generate and how much of that could be avoided and how is my trash being handled in the waste chain. From my personal review, I realized things like Brazil's and India's way of selling rice in these bulkier packages are way more sustainable than the half-kilo bags in Germany. Another thing is that a considerable amount of the waste I generate is very avoidable, such as disposable cloth mugs, plastic wraps, and food delivery packages. And most importantly, that I've been having chips for dinner way more often than I should. In other words, I could be actually doing better. Anyways, coming from a coastal area in Rio, Brazil, I know how beaches can get very polluted from this kind of trash. If you don't believe me, just check the pictures from the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio. Although the games went fine, some of the pictures are very scary. I actually swim and paddle through those waters very often, maybe almost every weekend. And I've encountered marine litter myself more times than I could count. And this problem is being researched around the globe, and several ideas are being tested in order to collect the marine litter. Of course, these are like trying to avoid a flooding with just a paper towel. And the main problem is still too much consumption, failure in waste management systems, and lack of awareness. Nevertheless, as I said before, even in the most caring society, I am sure marine litter will always be something to be aware of. While I was doing my research here in Germany and complaining about the weather and missing the sunny beaches in Rio, I became curious about how are people around the world collecting the marine litter. My research showed me dozens of examples, such as the Mr. Trash Wheel, a very funny water wheel who collects the floating debris from Maryland in the USA and has a very active presence in social media. Another idea comes from the Netherlands, where a new company is using bubble barrier to lead the marine litter towards a collection cage. In South Korea, a project pays the fishermen to bring back the litter and fishing nets they find while on the seas. Brazil, India, Denmark, everywhere we look, lots of good ideas and results. The one thing I miss about them though is doing something myself. I mean, they are all great ideas and they are doing a good job. But they are big projects and I miss the chance to do something myself, to actually collect the waste and as a citizen to take part and help on the personal level. As someone connected to the sea, I love doing stand-up paddle and I often regretted not being able to collect the waste whenever I find it in the water. I decided to take action and together with two colleagues, we developed a way to collect the waste from a stand-up paddle board. The idea is something like blogging, and I don't know if you've seen that, but in short, it means jogging and collecting the trash you find in your way. But to do that in the water on top of a board is a little harder. You have to keep your balance, you can fall if you lose it, and it's hard to stay still. And that's why we designed something to allow you to just paddle through the waves and the equipment will do the job of holding it and never letting go from the nets. It's also made to be adjustable. It's to mount in any kind of board. You can use it in your board or in some rental one. And I don't really want to go through these technical specs, but it's light, recyclable, it won't break in microplastic, easy to disassemble, and kind of easy to clean it in the nearest recycling camp. The design was also researched to keep your balance and avoid drag from your paddling. The idea is basically to allow you to do your stand-up paddle boarding without worrying about it, and in case you find the litter, you just have to go through it. We are currently on our final steps of designing it and very excited about the project. And we actually use the much improvised prototype ourselves. For us, this feels like one more fighting weapon on the climate change struggle. And we like to keep our minds seeing every small step, every single drop, every individual action. If you can reduce your amount of packaging, you should try it. If you can plug, you should go for it. And if you can paddle, I hope we can do it together and find each other in the waters. My only closing remark is keep asking what are we doing right and how can we do it better. Thank you.